I have a little task for you then, because you're working through all of this stuff. Anytime ego gives you trouble, let's say it's a bout of fear, ask yourself the question, who is this I that fears? So the question is, it's always the same part of the question. Who is this I that fears? Who is this I that expects? Who is this I that has self-doubt? Who is this I? Who is this I? And what that's doing, it's funneling you back into the original source of I. And from there, you have way more control over it. You can relax into that. Because what the I does is that the I is the ego. The ego is at the center of everything. If you notice that every time we talk, or every time we think, or all of our actions are based around this I of ourself. It's like we're self-centered. So anytime that you can bring that I back to its source, it will obey itself. And it will simultaneously go and touch itself. Because you're asking it, who am I? Who is this I? That I will go, I don't know, let me go see. Boink. And it might be for a moment. But what it does is it starts to diminish those paths. And so this is what can happen in your day-to-day living. Fear, who is this I that fears? And it will turn around and it will go home, even if it's just for a moment. You will experience the relief, even if it's momentarily. You'll go, oh, wow, yeah, kind of disappeared for a moment. It might come back, but you can ask that same question again. But once you see that that's actually works, anytime ego raises its head in any form, even in the happy moments, who is this I that's happy? Because it's just another identification. So who is this I? Who is this I? And you'll funnel it back to the one I that claims it does everything, the doer, the knower, the thinker. And once it's there, if you're out in the world, it will kind of dip in by itself. In self-inquiry, now you can turn your attention to that one I, and you can really grab a hold onto it and sink and turn within. But who is this I? It really goes from who is this I down to who am I? Because that's the main question we ask. I didn't really present it that way in self-inquiry today, but we're really asking the question, who am I? So who is this I into who am I? So yeah, day to day, who is this I that's agitated? And that's really the beginning of self-knowledge. You're starting to understand how this ego works. Because until you eliminate or at least significantly damage this thing we call ego or the original I thought, it's just going to find another way to slip around and knock you from behind. It's just going to continue to find ways to beat you up. Who is this I that feels responsible? I mean, these are some of the big ones, right? Is what we touched on today, where we rested into today, does that place of infiniteness have a sense of responsibility? No. Yet responsibility is happening.
I love that. It is happening. It's because that's out into this apparent reality where like responsibility comes into play, I guess.
I mean, eventually you'll realize this isn't out there. This is only yourself, because there's only one substance.
Right.
So this is what you perceive is what you are. And so that it doesn't make the world as threatening, so to speak. The threatening piece of it comes down. It doesn't mean that you don't preserve yourself, because there's a piece of preservation going on here.
Preservationing.
There's preservationing happening. Yeah, nobody does preserving. Yeah, that's when it gets fun, when you can see how the mechanics of it, or even when you're truly happy, like, oh my God, like, or at peace. The mechanics are that's in the absence of ego that was experienced. So you're never ever giving ego credit for anything. Right? So the mechanics, when you truly experience happiness, you aren't there. You, ego, are not there. But we misidentify it. Having coffee made me happy. No, it didn't.
Yeah.
It's in the absence of my egoic self that I experienced happiness having coffee. It's in the fulfilling of a desire. When you fill all desires, you experience happiness, right? Back to the skiing, when it's thigh deep, you're just like, all of my desires are fulfilled. Right? Yeah. I am happy.
Absolutely.
But there's no ego that was happy. There's no such thing. Happiness is in the absence of ego.
Yeah. Yeah, because the ego always wants more.
Yep, more. It's not deep enough.
It's never sated.
It's not deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
It could be lighter.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's a little heavy.
We all know the games. You could have the most epic day. You could be like in Snowbird skiing chest deep, and it will come up with a reason how it could be better. It's understanding and watching your mind try to move you away from here, or say, just go to mindfulness or start chanting. And maybe that's what you do. But try to tip in prior to mind and body when possible. And it might just be a moment or two. But a moment or two might lead to 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And there'll be a time where you'll be like, I know what I'm looking for now. I know the experience of self, or tipping prior to mind. I get that now, so to speak. And then it becomes easier and easier. And then the longing for it will really start to become present in your life. I long to turn within, because this is the only place that truly delivers. And it becomes, I like to say, being is the new activity. It's the activity of being. And it's just like going on a mountain bike ride, or skiing, or, teaching people, or whatever. But it's permanent. It never goes away. So yeah, just sit with it, contemplate it, chew on it, and just try to be as much as you can.
Cool. Sounds good.